Welcome to How to Catch. In this brand new series, I will be showing you how to catch different species from a boat. In this video, I will be talking about the humble plaice. At the end of this film, you will know where to locate the plaice, when you can expect to catch the plaice, how to tie 2 effective plaice rigs, what are the best baits to use for plaice, and finally, what rod and reel combo I'd suggest. Here goes. Well then, welcome to the start of this video. Those of you that follow the videos know that we come to the Garmin fish finder and we look on the relief shading charts, and I try and show you where you can find and locate the plaice. So the plaice arrive inshore from about mid-March onwards, and when they arrive they've spawned offshore and then they're pushing inshore to come back and feed again. So when they arrive in that mid-March period, they're not usually in very good condition. But when you're looking to find plaice and you're looking to catch plaice, what you're looking for is a few things. You're looking for some either clean sand, clean ground, which looks a little bit like this. So you won't have anything, you'll just have plain sand on your relief shading. You're looking for areas of maybe pea shingle or grit, which maybe is around here, possibly here. Or you're also looking for areas where food might congregate. So areas like this might be quite a good area to drift for plaice, because food will naturally get caught up in the tide and the plaice can take advantage of that. So anywhere where there's sand, clean ground, or sort of pea shingle, fine ground. They don't like big reefy rocky areas, they want a nice bit of sand. And if you can find a little feature in that sand where food might congregate, then you're at a good starting point. So from about mid-March onwards, the plaice will arrive and they'll stay all year round until about late October. But as I say, to begin with, in the early months, so March, April, a bit of May, the plaice are generally in not so great condition and they're a little bit smaller, but they do start to get better from sort of June, July, August, and then you'll catch the big ones in September and October. So you're basically looking for nice clean ground and sometimes any areas which might accumulate some food. So again here, probably a little bit of natural food will get caught in those rivets and ridges there. Got another little good place. You could run your drift along here. You can also anchor for plaice as well. You can anchor on the sand so you're not constantly drifting all day, but I do find if you're drifting, you do generally catch a few more fish. So you can be drifting a long way across this sandy area. Here again, it's probably quite a good little area. There's a few more sandbanks, a few more ridges where food might naturally congregate. So they're areas where I would try. You don't need to be far off for the plaice. They don't live far off. Normally sub 1 mile is best for the plaice. So I just thought I'd very quickly show you a mussel bed. Now I know this is a mussel bed because it dries out on exceptional low tides, low spring tides. You'll be able to normally see the mussel bed. An area of flat rock, so it's not massively rocky, but an area of nice flat big rock is generally where you might find a mussel bed. And here it's just a very big flat bit of rock, hard rock, and it's got loads of mussels on top of it. And here, sort of 15 years ago, used to be fantastic for massive plaice. Do still get a few nice ones, but they're certainly not as big as they used to be. But so that's what roughly a mussel bed might look like. A nice big flat bit of rock where the mussels congregate. So we've had a little look at where we can catch them. So as a recap, it's on clean sand, fine shingle, and mussel beds as well. Anywhere near mussel beds, you generally will catch them. And now you know what time of year they arrive, from mid-March, and they'll pretty much be through to October, and they'll be increasing in size throughout the year until about October, where they'll start to push offshore again to spawn. So now I've shown you where you can catch the plaice, when you can best catch the plaice, and also the better sizes. Let's have a look at the very simple rigs that we can use to catch plaice. Okay, then moving on to the tackle components that you're going to require to make any of these two rigs are quite simple. You're going to need a SS rolling swivel, or any sort of swivel. You're going to need your choice of hook. Now, I picked 3 of the hooks in the limitless range that I think will be perfect for plaice, and that is the Chinu hook Ultra Point, the Octopus Beak Penetration Point, and if you want a more traditional Aberdeen style hook, the Limitless Apex XTs. You also might require some beads, your chosen trace material, a weight, some scissors, and a sliding boom for the running ledger. Right, so what we're going to need for both of these rigs is a way to connect our weights. Now, you can make a sliding boom like this with a swivel on top. Your boom slid on the mono, and then either a coast link swivel or a SS link clip, whichever one you choose. I've just got a coast swivel on that one. That's just an old one I've been using. And you put your weight on here. Now, with plaice, you want to be using either a watch weight, and the reason for that is when that's going along the sand on the bottom, it's disturbing the sand and it's kicking it up, and that creates the plaice to get a little bit aggressive and a little bit interested in what's going on. So those little nodules, as you're drifting along and it's knocking the bottom of the sand, it kicks all the sand up and it sort of makes the plaice turn on a little bit. Alternatively, you can use another little weight, which is like that. That'll also kick up the sand because it's got some rivets in it, like so. So any sort of weight with any ridges, nodules, anything which will kick up the sand as you're drifting along is a better weight to choose. So you'd have this end on your main line, then you'd have your boom. You can also have a little zip slider as well, and you just attach your weight like that. So main line up here, so your line to your rod is going this way, it's being pulled along the bottom like that, and then we've got whatever rig we're going to use. Now I'm going to show you 2 rigs today. The first one I'm not actually going to show you how to make because it is just a running ledger. Now I like using this setup for the slightly bigger plaice, and for this I have used a 1.0 Limitless Apex XT hook. I'll put all the descriptions and links below. But that, you just tie on your hook, you put whatever bling you wish on. So here I've got 3 yellow beads. I quite like yellow beads. You can put a spinner on there, but I like to keep it quite simple. I either have no beads or I just have a few yellow beads, and that is a nice sort of Aberdeen style hook. Quite a long shank, so you can fit a worm on, or you can tip it with a bit of mackerel. But that's quite a nice hook, that, to keep on the worm, because you can really feed it up the line and feed it up the hook. It goes down about 2 foot, and then on the end I just have a double overhand knot that obviously will connect to your link clip or coast link swivel, so which is obviously on your boom. So you'd have that connects onto there, and as it's going along and you're drifting along, you've got your bait coming along the seabed. So that's just a running ledger. Plaice, very effective for drifting, for the bigger fish. So that is a running ledger, which is very effective for plaice. Now the next rig I'm going to show you, you're going to need again one of these. So it doesn't have to be a boom, it can be one of those little red or black zip sliders, which I showed you in a few videos ago. You can just use a zip slider on your leader, on your main line, a few beads, and then your SS link clip or coast link swivel, and then you can go down onto your rig. So here's the rig which attaches to that end. Now, first of all, I'm going to run you through one that I made earlier. So the first part is a little swivel. I like to go as light as I possibly can. So that is a 60 kilo swivel. So you got your swivel, and then it runs down you run down your trace and your mono, and then you have a little branch arm. Again, it's just like a little paternoster really, but what I've done here is I've added in a little bit of a branch with the mono, and it's sort of, let's see, it's doubled up there as you can see. What that does is it creates a little boom, and it creates sort of reduces the chance of getting tangled. And then we have about 6 to 8 inches, and then I've just gone for a octopus beak penetration point hook, again just with a single bead. And then we run further down our trace about 2 foot, and then come to the end, we've got another hook just tied on to the end. Now this rig here is very, very effective for plaice, Dover sole, all that sort of stuff. Any sort of flatfish, gurnards, your weavers, all that sort of stuff, anything which lives on sand and you're drifting along, this is an excellent rig. So I'm going to go ahead and show you how to make this one. Right, so first things first, you want to get your chosen leader material. Don't chop any off yet, you're going to want about 6 foot, but just for now, grab your swivel, as light as you can get away with, and a bit of your rig material. And then just tie your swivel onto there. I just use a 3-turn, 4-turn grinner. So there we go, that swivel is tied onto there. I'm just going to snip off the tag end. So we then want to come around about 8 inches down. We want to hold one end, peel off some more line, and we want to put a big loop in the line. Now this camera might not be focusing very well here, but as you see, we've got a big loop. So we're grabbing the 2 bits of line together, and we're going to do a triple just overhand knot. So we're going to go through once, then we're going to go 3. Pull that tight, and just moisten and pull that tight. And then we're going to go ahead and go around about 3 inches down, and we're going to tie another double overhand loop, and this creates a boom here to stop any tangles and try and alleviate the tangles. So 1 and 2. Again, moisten that and tighten. And then what we're going to do, we're going to grab our scissors and we're going to chop off one end of that loop like that. And then we've got a bit of branch line there which we're going to tie our hook on. Now I quite like a yellow bead, so I'm going to go ahead and slide on a yellow bead before I tie my hook on. So the yellow bead goes on, and then we just tie on our hook with whatever chosen knot that you like to tie your hooks on with. As I say, I always use grinners, pretty much exclusively use grinners, and those knots where I can create them paternosters. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and then I'm going to come up here to moisten and tighten, and then just cut off the tag end. And we haven't chopped anything off the reel, the leader reel here. We're going to go down about, I don't know, 8-10 inches, as long as it's longer than that branch line. Chops off your line. Then we're going to put on another bead, not quite yellow that one, that's a green one. And then we're going to go and tie on another hook here. Cut off the tag end, and then we're done. That is another rig ready for any sort of flatfish or sandbank species. So last recap then, we've got swivel which goes onto our main line, we've got that branch line there which sort of comes off as a boom, which takes us down to our first hook, and then we've got, following that, another hook on the end with a bead. Nice and simple, and that can be drifted along or fished at anchor, and that will be perfect for all flatfish and sandbank species. Right, so we've now looked at 2 different rigs. They can be used on a drift, so where you're not anchored up, but they can also be used at anchor. So now it's time to have a look at the baits that we use for plaice. Now I personally do not think you can get any better baits than fresh black lugworm. If you can get black lugworm fresh, or even blow lug, as well. That's a very good bait as well. Just a single worm fed on your hook, nice and simple, will catch you plaice. For the bigger ones, it is worth noting you can tip the end of your hook off with a little bit of a fish bait. That could be a little bit of squid, a little bit of cuttlefish, or a little sliver of mackerel. I'm talking small pieces of fish bait, so your sort of fingernail size. Just tip off the end. That keeps the worm on, and it also generally, for some reason, brings on the slightly bigger fish. So rod and reel setup, well, you want to go as light as possible, really. So a 20-pound braid, a 20-pound mono, which on a sort of 4,000 size spinning reel, a small multiplier, and a light rod, really, a light spinning rod, 10 to 15, 10 to 20 gram spinning rod. You'll have lots of fun on that sort of gear, and you'll enjoy your fishing a little bit more. I find the lighter you can go, the more fish you catch, because there's less tension when that fish picks up your bait. It's more able to pick up the bait and freely move, and everything's a little bit more subtle. So it's just making sure the baits are reacting better, the fish are picking up the baits, they're not feeling as much tension and heavy line. Honestly, scale down your gear as much as you can, and you will catch more fish. So that's the plaice. Hopefully now you've learnt how to locate the plaice, when you can catch the plaice. A couple of rigs you've hopefully learnt to build for the plaice, and any sand species as well. We'll cover them in a bit more detail in later videos, but today we're focusing on the plaice only. What baits to use and what rod and reel are best to use as well. Keep it simple, enjoy your fishing. Thank you for watching another how to catch video. Please have a look at other videos if you haven't already on the how to catch series, and I look forward to bringing you more soon. Take care.